Well, it's a small room, but I think it's not the size of the room, it's the people in the room that count. So welcome everyone. My name is Charlie Chan. I'm the interim president and CEO of UHN. And it gives me a great pleasure today to actually set up for our Minister of Health to make the announcement. But before I do that, I think it is important for us to acknowledge our hospital, the Toronto Western site, is situated upon traditional territories, which include Wendat, Anishinaabe Nation, Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Mississauga of the New Credit First Nations, and Métis Nation. So, before I introduce our local MPP, Han Dong, who can then introduce our Minister of Health, I want to provide some context, the importance of today's announcement. Toronto Western Hospital manages some of the most complex surgical cases across Ontario and globally as well. We deliver very specialized operating room procedure for a wide variety of cases, surgical condition, but especially in neurosciences and in the arthritis area. We are the largest neurosurgical program in Ontario. Although we have cutting-edge scientists and surgeons who are performing in an exemplary fashion, our operating room procedures is 30 years old. So there is no question that we have passed the time in terms of meaningful use of operating room procedure. And in order for us to remain competitive and serve our patients well, we need state-of-the-art OR procedures. And it is for that setting, that's why I'm going to introduce our local MPP, who have done everything he can for us for this riding, Han Dong.
Thank you very much, Charlie. It's certainly my pleasure to be back at Western making announcements. You're right. It's a Western, Toronto Western is a provincially, I would say, nationally recognized excellent hospital, providing excellent service. But I would argue it's also a community hospital. Dr. Mizrak is actually my family physician at the family health team. My father got his cancer surgery about 12 years ago, performed by Dr. Penner. So this is very much a local community hospital. Quite a bit of office here too, serving community. So I want to thank Toronto Western for all the service you provide to the local residents and serving Torontonians across. I'm very pleased to have my good colleague, very hardworking, knowledgeable minister, and it's really fortunate for our team to have a doctor to be the healthcare minister. So without further ado, I want to invite the Honorable Eric Hoskins, Minister for Long-Term Care and Health and Long-Term Care. Yeah. Usually your title is so long, and up to this podium, give us the good news.
So the hardest job isn't like us standing at the podium. It's these folks, affectionately called the human wall, that have been up here for a while. And I'm going to ask. So, can you say your first names and what your specialty is or what your profession is? Just go right across.
I'm Sheila. I'm an anesthesiologist here.
Thank you.
Sandy, registered nurse.
Chris, implant specialist.
Cora, advanced practice nurse educator in the OR.
Oh.
Dahlia, patient care coordinator.
Margaret, RN.
Chandra, RN, patient care coordinator in the operating room.
Edwin, OR supply chain supervisor.
Wow. So I mean, you get a sense of the breadth of talent, right? Just from these folks behind me, but also just how much we depend on each of them and their colleagues to run such a fantastic hospital. You know, Toronto Western is among the best of the best. No offense, Barry. Do you do any of your work here? Okay, and the hospital is better for it. But you know, and we all have our stories, just like my dad was here 10 days ago and had his back surgery done at Toronto Western a few years ago. I benefit from some of the greatest hand surgeons in the world that work out of Toronto Western. And the reference made as well to the neurosurgical team and program and the incredible talent that exists there, which is not only the best in Ontario, but I would argue the best in Canada and beyond. So it's such a great pleasure to be back here again. And thank you, Charlie, as well, and the whole team here, the team at UHN, but also the team here at Toronto Western, because you do an absolutely tremendous job at providing that highest quality of care for Ontarians day in and day out. And it's clear that a lot of people have benefited from the groundbreaking work that goes on at this hospital. As was mentioned, with Toronto Western being so well known for its neurosurgical program. But there's a vast array of services that are provided here, which are not only exemplary, but they are life-changing for the people in Ontario that are able to avail themselves of those services. And not to leave out the surgeons themselves. Right, it's always a team approach. Every individual is just as vital and just as important to providing that care, but the surgeons here at UHN truly are exceptional with regards to, in the first instance, the surgical expertise that they bring with them through their training and their specialties, but and performing some of the absolutely most difficult and technically complex surgeries imaginable. And when you add to those things the passion and commitment that they bring to the job along with their team members, it's no surprise why we're seeing the great outcomes and results that we do here at Toronto Western. So that commitment certainly motivates everybody to do even more and do their absolute best. And again, from the very best of our surgeons to the hundreds, probably thousands of volunteers, certainly across UHN, including here at Toronto Western. We all have to, I think, acknowledge and admit that the volunteers kind of run the hospitals, don't they? We'd never be able to survive or exist or provide that level of care without the many, many volunteers who give so generously of their own time. So it's a top-to-bottom approach, and that ability, that opportunity to improve the lives of others is what motivates all of the people that work in the health system and certainly in our hospitals. Now, we already know, and I've spoken a little bit about the great care that UHN and Toronto Western is providing to so many patients. Our government wants to help UHN do even more and to help even more patients. So that's why I'm pleased to announce that our government is investing in a major, and there are others that can probably speak eloquently to what this means, but the government is investing in a major expansion and redevelopment project for surgical services here at Toronto Western. And because the media always is interested in a number, I kind of refrain, and you guys probably as well, I kind of refrain from getting into specifics about what the level of investment is because we don't want to taint or jeopardize I've got Charlie and others sort of nodding their heads, the bidding process, right? The last thing you want to do is tell the potential contractor what we're likely or prepared to spend. But I am going to say that somebody suggested that I could sort of help sort of remind people of the great one in hockey. But we're talking about an investment of that order of magnitude, so an investment in the order of $100 million. So it's a big investment that's going to have a tremendous impact. That might get me into trouble. So,
I got you covered.
yeah, Han told me to say it. And so this redevelopment, this expansion and redevelopment project, of course, will address the growing demand for surgical services by increasing operating room capacity, but also redeveloping the space for both preoperative services and postoperative care. And also importantly, who's the individual who's here with digital? Again, I met you earlier. Yeah. So, David?
Yeah.
And so David and I had a moment to chat just briefly, but where he comes in and others is ensuring that not only will the OR pre-op and post-op have the absolute state-of-the-art technology, but it will move this OR and this hospital that much further into the digital age to be able to avail itself of all the new innovations and technologies, in fact many of them made in Ontario, but that actually assist and support and help folks like the ones beside me and others to practice their craft, their trade, and achieve those outcomes, even better outcomes that all of us want to see. So, so part of the project will also modernize the existing infrastructure to adapt to future technology. So, and of course, by upgrading surgical infrastructure for Toronto Western, we're helping patients across the province. We, of course, know that patients and their families from all over the province come here to Toronto Western because what opportunities exist and the specialties that exist here and the programs. So it will help not just patients and families in Toronto or the Toronto region, but literally across this province. This investment is part of our government's overall commitment to investing in capital and construction projects in the health sector across the province. In fact, we, over the next decade, we're committed, we are investing $20 billion in hospital and associated but health system capital infrastructure. That's a big commitment. It's unprecedented in this province, but it's also absolutely necessary to make those changes to deliver the services as being described. So we, all of that, we've sort of captured in this concept of patients first, and this is a wonderful example, I think, of how the result of this redevelopment and the new OR and the pre and post-op and everything that comes with it is really going to be focused on the patient and the family and those surrounding the individuals who benefit to make sure that they are getting maximum benefit. In fact, that's kind of every decision that I make as Minister of Health. Some probably won't believe it, but it is through that lens of the patient to imagine how we can improve the patient experience. So I want to thank the staff here at Toronto Western and across the UHN network, University Health Network, for your dedication to serving the needs of patients. I also want to acknowledge, it's important, particularly given this announcement, I think, I want to acknowledge how important philanthropy is in this redevelopment of the surgical suites. And we're very grateful for all of the donors and their generous support and for the leadership of the Toronto General and Western Hospital Foundation. Did I say that right? Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Well, see, I told you guys would be excited. So now with that excitement, with that announcement, you know that Toronto Western is going to be way better positioned to serve our patient. Mr. Minister, our purpose, values, and principle, which was re-established in 2016, is exactly patients' needs come first. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to Shavka Shavji, who has both the Order of Canada and Order of Ontario pins on him, and to say a few words on behalf of all the surgical services.
Thanks, Dr. Chen. Minister Hoskins, thank you very much for your support. I'm extremely proud to lead the largest department of surgery in the country. The Sprott Department of Surgery spans across all three of our major hospitals, and truly, as you have sampled yourself, know that they're world-class surgeons that are not only doing leading-edge and innovative surgery, but also providing for the community around our hospitals that continues to grow. And we have a challenge, but we're committed to delivering the highest quality of care. In that context, we have been challenged by the fact that we are somewhat landlocked and the infrastructure is aging, and so we really have recognized that this is something we need to do, and we need to continue to plan in the future, both partnering with the government and with our philanthropic supporters. And I can't thank enough people like Eric Sprott and the Kremble family and so on that have significantly supported us and partnered with you to make sure that we can provide the best care to the patients of Ontario and as a resource to all of Canada. So thank you again for your support and for this wonderful announcement today. Thank you.
So to close it out, I think as Minister Hoskins said earlier, we not only count on our staff, we count on hundreds and thousands of volunteers. They not only devote the time to help us, to ensure the patient's journey is an enriched one, they also actually help us. A lot of them actually help us to raise funds, whether it's a walk, whether it's a ride, whether it's a radiothon. And then some actually also reach out to major donors to help us. And I just want to use today's opportunity to further the names that have been mentioned. Specifically for the OR and surgical redevelopment, there were 5 major champions that have been supporting us over the last number of years. And they will continue to support us in order to ensure that we build it and renovate it right. Again, keeping the patient's journey in mind in a seamless way. Mark Lipton, Danny Greenglass, Jerry Halbert, Todd Halpern, and Mark Russo. So given this, I think that Toronto Western Gen is always known for spirit. So what do you guys say? Yeah.